All right. Good afternoon. Algebra 1 and both Algebra 1, Period 3 and Period 5. I'm going to go through all these old tests. These are the CP level tests, so even if you're in the 5th period class, they'll still be useful for our help. I'm going to go in order from the test packet, and I'll try to do every problem unless there's too many redundancy. So I'll use the calculator right here if anything needs a calculator. So I'm going to start off here. You have 8 to the second times 8 to the third. Let me zoom in so you can actually see the page a little bit better. Okay. And let it focus. So like I said, I'm going to go through all the questions here. And because I'll do that, hopefully we have it working. Just try and focus the camera. That's annoying. Okay, that works. All right. So let's start it off. When you multiply two numbers with exponents, like 8 to the, and they have the same base. So 8 to the second times 8 to the third, you just add the exponents. So 8 to the second times 8 to the third is just 8 to the fifth. Over here, when you do an exponent to an exponent, so 6 to the third times 6 to the fifth, you multiply them. So that'll be 6 to the 15. Now, you could distribute, if there's a multiplication on the inside, the exponent to everything here. So this 4 will go here and here. So it's 16 to the fourth times 7 to the fourth. Down here, it's, if you don't see 1, it's a visible 1. So it's 4 to the third power times 4 to the first power times 4 to the fifth power. Add that up together, that'll be 4 to the ninth power. 5 plus 3 plus 1 is 9. When you divide, it's the opposite of multiplying. So multiplying we add, divide we subtract. So 12 minus 5, 9 to the seventh power. Over here we have a mixed operation, so we have to add first and then divide. So 2 to the seventh times 2 to the eighth equals 2 to the 15th, because 8 plus 7 is 15. Divided by 2 to the third. 15 divided by 3, or 15 minus 3, I should say, is 2 to the 12. Next page. All right. When it's a fraction, you just distribute to everybody on the inside. So that's 3 to the second power over 8 to the second power. Since this is a multiple choice question, it probably will look like the answer like this, 9 over 64. So keep an eye out for that type of answer. Over here, variables work the same as number. If it's the same variable, you could combine them. 3 plus 7 is going to be x to the 10. Same with numbers, same with variables. 3 times 2, that's going to be x to the 6. Over here, we're going to do one piece at a time. So I'm going to first do the multiplication right here. So x to the second times x to the fourth is x to the 8 times 3x to the third. Let's see what I can combine. X to the 8th times x to the third will be 3x to the 11. Since this 3 didn't have a number to interact with, it just says 3. Let's go to the next one. I remember this one tricked up a lot of people. First, you want to distribute this one to here, and you want to distribute this 3 to here. So 3 to the third power, or I'm sorry, 3 to the second power. X, that's x to the third times second, so that's x to the sixth power. Times 2 to the third power, x to the third power. Then from there, let me actually do out the number so I'm able to multiply it. This is 9x to the 6th times 8x to the third. Multiply the numbers, 72x to the 9th. Because x6 plus x3 is x9, 8 times 7 is 72. I got 8 from 2 to the third power. That's 2 times 2 times 2. Over here, do you have a fraction and a whole number, or I guess variables in this case? And when that happens, all you have to do is move this to over here, over 1. So you have 1 over x squared times x to the 12 over 1. Multiply straight through, x12 over x squared. Then I subtract. That's going to be x10. 12 minus 2 is 10. Next one, you have a 4 exponent here, so distribute the 4 to everybody here. So that's going to be x to the 20th power over 2 to the 4th power. So that's x to the 20th power over 2, 4, 8, 16. The reason it's positive is because this is an even power, and even powers don't care if you're negative or positive, so that makes it positive. Let's look down here. Next one, x equals 0. So what's good about that is anything to the 0 power makes it 1. So I could just write 1, and I'm done. Over here, though, not as easy. Let's take the 4 and distribute to here, and let's take the 2 and distribute to here. A to the 4th b to the 8th times b to the 2nd over a to the 2nd. And again, try to follow along on your actual physical test. You pause the video if you need to. So a to the 4th times, now if I were to combine them, that'd be a to the 4th, b to the 2nd, over a to the 2nd, b to the 8th. The only reason I move a in front is because alphabetically a is first. Now I can subtract each one separately. So a to the 4th minus a to the 2nd is a to the 2nd. B to the, this would have been 2nd, divided by b to the 8th, is b to the negative 6. Now my big issue is that I don't like negative exponents. So your final answer is a to the 2nd, and to make this exponent positive, I move it to the basement, which in this case is b to the 6. Let's go on to the next one. 3 to the negative 2 power. So 3 to the negative 2 power, in order to make it a positive exponent, I move it down to the basement. And since there's nothing on top at the moment, you just put a 1. And then 3 to the 2nd power is 9. So 3 to the 9. 1 over 9, I should say. Over here, if you don't see a number, it's 1. So 2 to the negative 4 times 2 to the 1, that's negative 4 plus 1, which is 2 to the negative 3rd. Then I got to move it down to make it positive. So that equals 1 over 2 to the 3rd. And then 2 to the 3rd is 2 times 2 times 2, 8. So 1/8. Let's go on to the next one. Five to the negative 2 over 5 to the negative 3. Let me put that on camera. So what to do with that, you're going to, let's do subtraction. So negative 2 minus negative 3, that's the same thing as plus 3. So that's 5 to the 1 power, which is simply 5. You don't have to show that middle step if you don't need to. Like if you feel like you're confident to do it in your head, you could. Remember, a lot of these questions are multiple choice, so your answer is what matters, not your method. Our next one, x to the negative 2nd power. We're going to go 1. To make it a positive exponent, you're going to move it down. And you're going to go 1 over x to the 2nd power. To move it down is 1x to the 2nd power. We're done there. Next one, we got to distribute that negative 2 to everybody. So 3 to the negative 2 power, x to the negative 2 power equals negative, to move this down and to move this down, 1 over 3 to the 2nd power, x to the 2nd power. I could actually do 3 to the 2nd power, so 1 over 9x squared. Okay, this one, first you're going to do the numbers normally. So 8 times 8 to the negative 4. So that's 1 plus negative 4. So that's going to be negative 3. So 8 to the negative 3. X to the 3rd times x to the 2nd. That's x to the 5th. Now only 8 is negative, so that's the only one that goes to the basement this time. So you're going to get x to the 5th over 8 to the 3rd power. Let's go to the next one. Hey, negative 2 is everywhere, so we're going to have to distribute that negative 2 to everyone. 4 to the negative 2, x to the negative 8, y to the positive 6. Negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6. Move this down and move this down. Y to the 6 on top. 4 squared, x to the 8th. And again, you don't have to like write the intermediate spot. Maybe you see already that y squared is 16, so you could go 16x8. You could like go from here to here. But it's multiple choice, so however you get your answer. Over here, if you have a negative on the bottom, in order to make it positive, you have to move it up. So I'm going to move this negative 2 up, well, along with the x, 3x. So 3x to the 2nd power, distribute the 2. 3 to the 2nd power, x to the 2nd power. Again, you could skip that motion if you wanted to. 9x squared. Okay, let's Let's keep going. Looks like we're almost done with chapter 7, so that's good. Hey, another 0 power. What does 0 power equal? 1. You're done. Next one. -3. So we've got to distribute a -3 to the x and -3 to the y. So x, -2 times -2 times -3 is -6. Over, this is -4. So -4 times -3 is y to the positive 12. Now since x is negative, you got to move negative downs if it's on top and up if it's on the bottom. So x to the 6, y to the 12. All right, last one, the hardest one. It's going to be all these letters. This -2 is going to be distributed to everybody. So let's distribute that. So we got a to the -4th, b to the positive 8, c to the -2. If you don't remember, I'm multiplying the exponents to each other. A to the 6, b to the -2. So then we're going to have to go and do a and a. So -4 minus 6, -4 minus 6 equals -10. So a to the -10. 8 minus -2, that's double negative, which is a positive. So that's going to be positive 10, b to the 10, c to the -2. Nothing happened to c, so it stays the same. This guy has to go down, this guy has to go down. So we have b10 over a10, c2. All right, that's chapter 7. Look at that, we're 1/6 of the way there. Oh wait, I lied. I was wrong. Okay, let's go do this. Make a table and graph the exponential function. When I told you to make a table and graph the exponential function, your table is going to be an XY table. And I believe, I don't remember which period I did for which. I imagine for period 5, I said -1 to 1. For period 3, I said -2 to positive 2. So I'm going to do that one. It's a good practice to go all the way out. Now I got to plug in the -2 into 3x. So that's 3, and this x is going to go in here. So 3 to the -2 power. Now 3 to the -2 power is the same as after it moves down, 3 to the squared, which is 1/9. So 1/9 goes here. 3 to the -1 power, well, you just got to move it down. So that's 1/3. Anything to the 0 power, 3 to the 0 power equals 1. Anything to the 1 power is the same thing. So 3 to the 1 power is 3. And then 3 to the 2nd power should equal 9. That's your table. How do you graph that though? So each point is a coordinate point. Like your first one is -2, comma 1/9. So I'm just going to drag it over here. -2, that means 2 left. 1/9, so 1/9 is like a very small step above 0. So a very small step above 0. Let's go to the next one. -1, 1/3. -1x is 1 to the left. 1/3 is slightly above 1/9, but not that high. Not past 1 though. Do not pass 1 or get on 1. At 0, it's at 1. At 1, it's at 3. And at 2, it is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we connect the dots, and it's going to become this exponential curve, okay? Down here, we have our functions. Let's check if this is an exponential function. To check if it's an exponential function, you first check if these are positive growths. So this is +1, +1, +1. I should say positive growth, that's adding. And over here, you have to see if it's a multiplication. Now let's pay attention. 50 to 10, well, that's divided by 5. But I don't want to write divided by, so I got to do times 1/5. 10 to 2, that's divided by 5, or the same thing as times 1/5. And then 2.4, if you did divided by 5, you would get 0.4. So that's 1 over 5. So your equation is going to be this slope right here. It's going to be 1 over 5. And then in parentheses, in parentheses, we're going to put x, that's the variable. And then what we need to take care of is when x is 0, it should equal 10. So that puts a 10 here. So 10 is from the fact that x equals 0, and 1, 5 comes from the pattern that we have. So 10 times 1 over 5 x. Let's check the next one. That's plus 1, plus 1, plus 1. So that's good. Over here, you have a minus 4. Oh, no, a plus 4, I'm sorry. Plus 4, plus 4, plus 4. Now, that's a pattern, but it's an additive pattern, which makes it a linear expression. Here, you've been multiplying by 1/5. And because you're multiplying by 1/5, that's exponential. So this is yes, exponential. Well, this one is no. And then since I didn't ask you to do anything, if it's not, you don't have to do anything. Hey, chapter 8, we're already here in February, near the end of February. All right, combine like terms. So hopefully you guys remember this. 3x squared plus x squared. When you add them, you add the numbers in front. Now, when you don't have a number in front of the x squared, it's the same as 1. So 3 plus 1 is 4x squared. Let's get to the next one. Negative 8x minus 6x. So negative 8 plus negative 6, that's going to give me negative 14. So I'm going to write minus 14x. And then my 5 mixes with the 2. 5 plus 2 equals plus 7. And I know it's plus because this symbol is plus in the middle. And I'm sorry for the noise in the background. That's just thunder. This one, it seems like I reprinted the question twice, so scribble out the second part. So let's do it. X cubed minus x cubed. So x cubed minus x cubed, that's 1 minus 1. That's 0x cubed. And because it's 0x cubed, I don't have to write anything. So I'm going to leave that blank. Negative 7x squared minus, and pay attention to this minus, 10x squared. Negative 7 minus 10, that's going to give you a negative 17x squared. Negative 3x. This guy doesn't have an x. No one else has just an x. And because no one else has just an x, you just write it normally, minus 3x. Now, this 4, there's no one with a 4. But because it's behind the minus sign, it's technically 0 minus negative 4. And 0 minus negative 4 is the same thing as 0 plus 4. So that's plus 4. Okay, next one, you gotta distribute to everybody. So y squared times 9y is going to be 9y cubed. Just like from our last test, 2 power times the 1 power equals the 3 power. Minus 12y squared times y squared is y to the 4th times 6y squared. Let's go to the next one. This is foiling. If you don't remember what's foiling, you have to do, everybody has to see everybody else. So I'll do it the long way out. So the front ones, that's F stands for, 2x times x, 2x times x, that's 2x squared. Outside ones, so the ones on the outside, that's 2x times negative 7, that's negative 14x. The inside ones, that's 5 times x. Well, 5 times x is just 5x. And the last one, so the ones that are second in each parenthesis. 5 times negative 7. That's going to give me negative 35. With that in mind, what we're going to do is set them all straight to each other. 2x squared minus 14x plus 5x minus 35. Combine like terms. 2x squared minus 9x minus 35. All right, let's go to the next one. Foiling again. I'm going to do this a little quicker this time. X times x is x squared. X times 4 is 4x. 2 times x is 2x. And 2 times 4 is 8. Combine these like terms. X squared plus 6x plus 8. Our next one, we have 2x minus 3 squared. Now, if you're thinking to distribute the 2 to both 2x and minus 3, you're going to get it 100% wrong. And I'm going to put a fake option where that it happens to make sure I catch those guys. What you have to do is rewrite it as 2x minus 3, 2x minus 3, and then FOIL it out again. 2x times 2x is 4x squared. 2x times negative 3 is negative 6x. Negative 3 times 2x is negative 6x. And negative 3 times negative 3 is plus 9. So let's combine these things. 4x squared negative 6 plus negative 6 is, or negative 6 minus 6 is going to be negative 12x plus 9. Let's continue to the next one. Foil it out. This one causes a special situation. X squared minus 5x plus 5x minus 25. What's special is when you combine these like terms, negative 5 plus 5, that ends up being 0. And because that ends up being 0, you could do x squared minus 25. All right, let's keep going. All right, another foiling one. This one's not so straightforward. There won't be any like terms. X times 2x squared is 2x to the third. X times negative 3x is negative 3x squared. 6 times 2x squared is 12x squared. And 6 times negative 3 is negative 18x. Hey, I see we could combine like terms actually. So 3x squared and 12x squared is going to be 2x cubed. Negative 3 plus 12 is plus 9x squared minus 18x. Okay. Next one. Number 9. Solve the equation. So, to solve the equation when it's like this, all you do is split it in half and do x plus 3 equals 0 and 2x minus 5 equals 0. So I'm going to subtract 3, x equals negative 3. I'm going to do plus 5, so I have 2x equals 5. The reason I plus 5 is because I want to get rid of the negative 5. And I'm going to divide by 2. The reason I divide by 2 is to get rid of the 2 next to x. X equals 5 over 2. So your two answers is negative 3 and 5 over 2, or 2.5 if you want to use a calculator. Let's go to the next one. We have three things, 3x, 6 minus x minus 6, and 4x plus 20. So let's do one at a time. 3x equals 0. Divided by 3, divided by 3. X still equals 0. So that's 1. X minus 6 equals 0. Plus 6. Why do I add 6 to both sides? To get rid of the negative 6, x equals 6. 4x plus 20 equals 0. Minus 20 minus 20. 4x equals negative 20. Divided by 4, divided by 4. X equals negative 5. So your three answers is 0, 6, and x equals negative 5. Let's keep going. Factor. So what does factoring mean? So things that multiply to C that add to B. So things that multiply to 24 that add to 10. So that is 6 and 4. So I write x plus 6, because 6 was here, and x plus 4, because 4 is here. That's it. You're done. Let's try the next one. 6, but it adds up to negative 5. So what multiplies to 6 that adds up to negative 5? Well, 3 and 2 makes positive 5, but that's not what I want. I need negative 5. So negative 3 and negative 2 equals negative 5. So that's x minus 3, x minus 2. And you're done with that one. Factoring is not that bad as you remember it. All you have to do is multiply to C and then add to B. Except when there's something in front. So when there's something in front, we have to do a little slide and divide. So what are we slide and dividing? So I'm going to take this 4 and move it over here. So now my new equation is x squared plus 5x minus 4 times 6, 24. So I need things that multiply to not just 24, but negative 24 that add to 5. So things that multiply to 24 that add to 5. Excuse me. Negative 12 and 2, no, that doesn't work. 12 and negative 2, no, that doesn't work. 8 and negative 3, hey, that one works. So we got 8, x plus 8 and x plus 3, or x minus 3, my fault, minus 3. Now I would be done, but because I slide, you have to follow up with the divide. So I'm going to divide by the letter A here and here. So I'm going to do divided by 4, divided by 4. Now the left side, that's going to be x plus 2. That's from here. X plus 2 is just a solid number. But the other one is x minus 3 over 4. And because it's still a fraction, I want to do one thing to fix it. It's to slide it back. So my final answer is x plus 2 and 4x, that 4 that moved front, minus 3. We're going to the next one. So we have 2x squared minus 11x plus 14. Take this 2 and multiply by 14. You got x squared minus 11x plus 28. So what does that allow me to do? What that allows me to do is take the factors of 28 that add up to negative 11. Let's see. There's 7 and 4. That's positive 11 though, so negative 7 and negative 4. So x minus 7, x minus 4. I can't forget one crucial thing, which is since I slide it over here, I have to divide back. Divided by 2, divided by 2. The reason the number is 2 is because it's a. This one is not going to be a clean fraction, so I'm going to move it over, while this one's going to reduce. So your final answer is 2x minus 7. And then this reduces 4 divided by 2 into 2, so x minus 2. Let's go to the next one. Solve the equation. So this is one extra step than normal. First, let's factor it. So things that multiply to 20 that add to 9. That's 5 and 4. So I have x plus 5, x plus 4. But one problem is I have it equals 0. So this is a combination of the questions we just did plus the question on the last page. You split it in half. X plus 5 equals 0, and x plus 4 equals 0. Minus 4 on both sides, you got x equals negative 4. And you got minus 5 on both sides, so x equals negative 5. Last one. 8 goes to negative 5. So x squared minus 6x minus 40 equals 0. So what I'm going to do is find factors of negative 40 that add up to negative 6, negative 10, and 4. I get really good at this after a while, and so can you. So we're going to do x minus 10 and x plus 4. Don't forget, since I slide, I have to divide. So divided by 8, divided by 8, x minus 5 over 4, x plus 1 over 2. Hey, none of them are clean or whole numbers, so move it here, move it here. So I'm almost done. 4x. This is the camera? No. 4x minus 5 and 2x plus 1. At that point, I'm going to split it in half and solve for each. 4x minus 5 equals 0, plus 5 on both sides. 4x equals 5, divided by 4 on both sides, x equals 5 over 4. That should look familiar. Then I'm going to subtract 1, 2x equals negative 1, divided by 2, x equals negative 1 over 2. That should also look familiar. These two fractions right here are going to be the same as the answers here, just inverted. So it was a positive half, your final answer was a negative half. You had a negative 5 over 4. You make it into a positive 5 over 4. All right, well, so these last ones, solve. So what they have to do here first is minus 6 minus 6. Reason is because you cannot have it equal anything but 0. So it has to equal 0. So things that multiply to negative 6, that add to 5. Negative, I was going to do negative 3 and negative 2, but that's negative 5. And that doesn't even multiply to positive 6, or negative 6. So I need to think of another one. So, positive 6 and negative 1. That equals positive 5. X plus 6, x minus 1 equals 0. Split and solve. Hopefully you realize the pattern here. Whatever's here, you're just going to do the inverse. So if it's 6, it's negative 6 is one of your answers. And since this is negative 1, it's going to be plus 1. Positive 1, I should say. Same thing here. Plus 11b plus 11b. So 3b squared. Now, since 11b is the single variable one, that should go second. If I remember correctly, a lot of people put it in the back and they couldn't find the answer. So slide over. B squared plus 11b plus equals 0, I forgot. Plus 30 equals 0. Factors of 30 that add up to 11, 6 and 5. X plus 6. X plus 5. I know I changed it to x from b. You could change it to x to b. Doesn't matter. It's a variable. Then you go to divide it by 3. Divide it by 3. This is going to reduce to x plus 2. Since this doesn't reduce, I'm going to move the 3 over here. 3x plus 5 equals 0. Split and solve. X plus 2 equals 0. That's x equals negative 2. I forgot my own trick. I should have just done that. Here's my trick here. It was 5/3 here. So it's going to be negative 5 over 3 here. So your answers are negative 2 and negative 5 over 3. Hey, next chapter, chapter 9. Graphing parabolas. Oh, ooh, scary. Okay, so you gotta remember this thing, ax squared plus bx plus c. We're using that a lot in the last one. Now there's something that we need to take care of, which is negative b over 2a. That's going to get you the x of the vertex. So remember that. With that in mind, let's plug in negative b. Now, b is the number in front of just single x, x to the 1 power. There is no number x to the 1 power, so that tells you b, let me identify here, a equals 1. B does not exist at all, and it does not exist at all, so it's 0. And C equals negative 4. So what are we going to do with that? I'm going to say, I know my vertex is negative 0 over 2 times 1. So that's 0, because 0 on top. So my x of the vertex is 0. That's what I use negative b over 2a. Then I'm going to take the 0 and plug it into the x. So y equals x squared minus 4. Y equals 0 squared minus 4. Y equals negative 4. So my y is negative 4 here. Now the axis of symmetry, if you see that x there, you know it's the x of the vertex. So that's x equals 0. And then your min-max, this is your lowest or highest point. That's right here. It's negative 4. That's your y of the vertex. That's the y of the vertex. Is it a min or max? Let's look at A. Is A positive or negative? A was a positive 1. And if it was positive, that makes it a min. If you're not sure, when we graph it, we'll do it. So let's graph this table. So it's y equals x squared plus 4. So we have an x and a y. We need 5 spots. Now that middle spot is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is going to be your vertex, which is 0 and negative 4. Now to fill out the rest of the x, you just go 2 smaller. So 1 less than 0 is negative 1. And 1 less of x is negative 2. And 2 bigger. So that's 1 and 2. Now you're going to plug in each point. Now remember, if you did it correctly, it's a mirror. So you could only have to do half of it. Negative 1 or negative 2 versus 1 or 2. I say 1 or 2, positive 1 and positive 2 are easier numbers. So I'm going to plug in 1. So that's 1 squared minus 4. And when I say plug in 1, I mean 1 into the x over there in the original equation. So 1 squared minus 4 is 1 minus 4, negative 3. So this is going to be negative 3. And then over here, then we're going to plug in 2. So 2 squared minus 4. 4 minus 4, that's 0. So this is going to be 0. So you have negative 3 and 0 you found there. Now, a key component to that is that we are going to use the mirror effect to fill out the rest. So if this is negative 3, then this is negative 3. And if this is 0, then this is 0. Now let's graph that. So we have negative 2 comma 0. So 2 left, 0 up or down. Negative 1 comma 3. 1 left, 3 down. 0 comma negative 4. 0 negative 4, 0 down, or 0 left to right, 4 down. 1 comma negative 3. And then 2 comma 0. Connect the dots. I missed. Unbelievable. Nah, whatever. But that's a U shape, that parabola. And notice how the lowest, it's a low point, and because it's a low point, it's a min. All right, we're going on to the next one. I'm going to do this faster. I see my B is 0, so I know my vertex is 0. I'm going to plug in 0 here. Negative 2, 0 squared plus 3. 0 squared is 0. Negative 2 times 0 is 0. So y equals y. So 3 equals y. My axis symmetry is the x of the vertex, which is 0. My min and max is the y of the vertex, which is positive 3. Is there a min or a max? A in this case is negative 2, because that's the number in front of x squared. And because it's negative 2, what we're going to do is that it's going to be a max, because it's a negative. A is negative. Okay? So, let's make the table. X, Y. You need 5 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your middle spot is going to be your vertex, which is 0, 3. The x's I will fill out by going 2 bigger, which is 1 and 2, and 2 smaller, negative 1, negative 2. Now I'm going to fill in the table. I'm only going to fill in half the tables. And 1 and 2 is easier than negative 1, negative 2. So negative 2 times 1 squared plus 3. So negative 2 times 1 is negative 2 plus 3. That is going to be 1. So that's 1 right here. Oh, sorry, that was cut off. Next one. Negative 2. 2 squared plus 3. Now remember, when you do exponents, you exponent first. So 2 squared is negative 2 times 4 plus 3. And then negative 2 times 4 is negative 8 plus 3. And that's going to give me negative 5. So that's negative 5. If this is 1, this is also 1. And this is negative 5, then that's also negative 5. So let's graph those points. Negative 2, negative 5, so that's 2 to the left, 1, 2, 5 down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 left, positive 1, so 1 up. 0, comma 3, so 3 up. 1, comma 1, so 1 right, 1 up. 2, comma negative 5. Make the U shape. My U shape sucks, but it doesn't matter. This is full credit because your points are clear. All right, let's go to the next one. Hey, now we have a B, so this makes it a little harder. So what we're going to do is take that B and actually plug it in. Let's identify. A is just 1, because there's nothing in front of x squared. B is negative, it's 4. And C is 1. Now we got to use this negative b over 2a. You need to remember this in order to find the vertex. So negative b over 2a, that is negative 4 over 2 times a, which is 1. Negative 4 over 2, that's going to be negative 2. That is my x of the vertex, okay? Just the x of it. So now I need to find the y of the vertex. So I'm going to take that negative 2 and plug it into the equation here. Negative 2 squared plus 4, negative 2. You replace all the x's plus 1. So that's positive 4 minus 8 plus 1. Negative 2 squared, remember, negative times a negative is a positive, so positive 4. Minus 8 plus 1. 4 minus 8 is negative 4. Negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3. So your vertex is negative 2, comma, negative 3. Your axis of symmetry is negative 2. Your min-max is negative 3. Is it a min-max? Since A is a positive 1, it's only down from here, so 1. So min, I should say. Now we got to make that table, the hard part here. X, Y. Now what I'm going to do is show you, which I don't think I showed in class typically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is how to use your TI-80 to get the table. I'm still going to fill in my vertex though first, which is negative 2 and negative 3. So let me show you on the TI-80 how do you get the vertex, or the table. All right, and sorry for the blurriness. So we're going to click Y equals, which is this button here. I'm going to clear that. If you had stuff, just click clear. Now I'm going to plug in this equation here, the original equation from the question. Now, X is this button right here, which is 1 right and 1 down from second. So X square is over here. So X squared plus 4x plus 1. So the only thing you should not know how to find is the x, which I just showed you. With that in mind, we're going to take that and we're going to click second, so the blue button, and table, which is above graph. Now, I don't care for negative 15. I don't care for negative 14. I don't care for negative 12. I'm going to go down. Let me just check if I put it in the equation right. Yeah. Second table. I'm going to go down to where x equals negative 2, which is right here. So notice how I have my table here, negative 2, negative 3. Hey, that looks familiar, negative 2, negative 3. So what I'm going to do is use these two to figure it out. So what's left of negative 2? It's negative 1 and 0. And I'm sorry, that's right. And what's left of it is negative 3 and negative 4. Well, I can see my negative 3 here is negative 2. And I can see my negative 1 here is also negative 2. So far, it makes sense, just like before. Again, if you don't want to use the calculator, you can plug everything in by hand. 0 is going to be positive 1. And negative 4 is going to be positive 1. So that is the method to use your calculator. And hopefully that helps. What's even helpful, I think after you get the points actually is easy. So let's just graph it with the points. So we have negative 4, 1. So that's negative 4 to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1 up. Then start at the origin again. Negative 3, so 1, 2, 3, and then 2 down. Start at the origin again, negative 2, negative 3. Start at the origin again, negative 1, negative 2, 0, 1. My U-shapes are getting better. My parabolas are getting better. So I just want to show you how to do the calculator. So if you have a TI-80, which you should for all of high school, that can help you. All right, let's go to the next one. This time I'm going to do most of it in calculator to help out. But I still want to find the vertex manually, so I'm going to do that vertex part manually. So, negative b over 2a. So a equals 2, b equals 4, c equals negative 1. That is 4. I'm sorry, because it's 4, so negative 4 over 2 times 2. That's negative 4 over 4. That's negative 1. And that is my x of the vertex. So negative 1, comma. Take that negative 1 and plug it into the equation here. 2 negative 1 squared plus 4 times negative 1 minus 1. Negative 1 squared is positive 1. 1 times 2 is 2. Negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. Minus 1 is 1. No. So, 2 minus 4 is negative 2. Negative 2 minus 1 is negative 3. So your vertex is negative 1, negative 3. Let's fill in the axis of symmetry. Negative 1 is right here, and negative 3 is right here. Is there a min and a max? For some reason, I left a gap here instead of just made a circle. A was a positive number, so it's a min. Okay, let's fill out the table though. Now, I'm going to use the calculator again to make my life easier. So let's use the calculator again to make my life easier. Y equals. Let's clear that. Oh, let me make the physical table on the paper though. So x, y, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And in my middle, I'm going to put negative 1 and negative 3. So let's take our calculator, plug into the equation as it is in the original problem, which is 2. Remember, x is right here. Oh, you can see it. X is right here, right underneath mode. So 2x squared plus 4x minus 1. All right, click second table or graph, and you'll get a table. Now I care about negative 1, so I'm going to look at my x column and go for negative 1, which is right there. Negative 1 comma 3, this is a good way to check. Hey, that's negative 1 comma 3. So what's next to it? Lower is negative 2 and negative 3, and higher is 1 and 2. So at 0 is negative 1. And look at the calculator. It also says that negative 2 is negative 1. At 1, it's at 5. Hey, another one's at 5. Look at that. That's a lot easier, isn't it? So I hope you use the calculator to your full advantage. But let's graph. Negative 3, so that's 1, 2, 3, back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. By the way, I know you can graph with the calculator, but it doesn't give you the points as cleanly as I want, so I don't suggest doing it. All right, let's make the parabola. I really did get better at this. No, not really at the end. But that's my parabola. You could kind of tell it's a minimum because it's at the bottom. Again, get the vertex, you just get the axis, symmetry, and min-max for free. Use your calculator to help you graph this. If not, you plug in 0 and 1, just like we did in the first 2 problems of this test, and solve it out. Let's see what's here. Oh, these are nice and easy. Little bite-sized problems, basically. So you got to square root both sides. Because you have an x squared, you square root both sides. Let's say, forbid, you don't remember how to square root, or you don't know what the square root of 25 is. You're going to do in your calculator here. From here, you're going to click second, and you see where the x squared is. Above it is the square root. So you click that. So then you're going to have a square root symbol here. And I'm going to type whatever I want. In this case, 25. Hey, now here's something important. The calculator will only tell you 5. But remember, 5 is not the only answer. X is also plus or minus 5. For my class, when I have x squared equals not a clean number, I I square root both sides. Now 40 doesn't have a clean square root. And because of that, I'm just going to leave it as plus or minus the square root of 40. I'm just going to leave it as the unclean number as a whole piece. So square root of plus or minus 40. Let's go to the next one. Hey, there's something next to the x squared that I don't want to be next to the x squared. So I got a minus 10 on both sides. So I got x squared equals 81. Now I want to square root both sides. You could type that in your calculator. I'll give you 3 seconds. It's x equals plus or minus 9. I know some of you did in your head, so I'm proud of you guys. Okay? Next one, this is really important. I divide by 3 because it's a 3 times divided by 3. X squared equals negative 16. Try typing in negative 16 into the square root on your calculator. If you did do that, you're going to get an error, and there's a reason why. You are never allowed to square root a negative. If you have a negative inside your square root, at that moment, stop, and that will be a no solution. At that moment, you stop and write no solution. Number 9, minus 2, minus 2. 5x squared equals 20. Divided by 5, divided by 5. X squared equals, divided by 5, 4. Then I got to square root both sides. 4 is a positive number, so I could do that. X equals plus or minus 2. The plus or minus matters, and I guess I didn't explain this in an earlier question. Why it matters a lot is because you're supposed to put the negative 2 along with it. Let's go to the last one. It's divided by 4. So the opposite of divide by 4 is timesing by 4. Cross those out. So x squared equals 36. Square root both sides. X equals plus, let me write that actually, equals plus or minus 6. Okay, do not forget the plus or minus in that. All right, are we on the next test already? Hey, we're on the next test. Yippee. Okay, Algebra 1, 9.4 to 9.7. Solve using square roots. Wait a second. Well, some of it's somewhat similar. Okay. So, let's divide 5 on both sides. X squared divided by 5 equals 9. Square root both sides. X equals plus or minus 3. Almost wrote 9 like a silly guy. Over here, plus 9 plus 9. So 3x squared equals 54. Divided by 3, divided by 3. X squared equals 16. Square root. X equals plus or minus 4. Last one of this. Minus 7. 2x squared equals negative 3. Divided by 2. X squared equals negative 3 over 2. Whoa, big problem. Negative in my square root. No solution. Solution. No solution. Okay. Oh, so this is an oldie. Solve by completing the square. Oh. Now, if you don't remember how to do this one, it's okay. It's a kind of complicated step, and there's a lot to it, so I'm going to take this one slow. I think we still got chapter 10 and 11. 10 and 11, though, is a quick chapter, so this one is going to be the longest set, as in, like, the heaviest in content. So let's go through it. plus 5 plus 5. I'm going to get my x's all by itself first. When you're doing complete the square, you want to get the x's all by itself. So x squared plus 4x equals positive 5, because there's 5 on the other side. Now what's really important to know is I left a blank here for a reason. What I'm going to do is add c to both sides. And I'm hoping that someone watching this, when you see the add c, that reminds you of something. So let's keep it going. Plus c plus c. What we're going to do is do x squared plus 4x plus, oh, I already wrote that. So what we're going to do is find what c is. To find what c is, that's going to equal negative b over 2. Looks kind of familiar to that thing with the graphing. Squared. Kind of looks familiar to that negative b over 2a. Not exactly the same, but it is related. They're like cousins, basically. So, what is b? B is always the number in front of just x. So c equals negative 4 over 2 squared. C equals negative 2 squared. Keep in mind of that number right there. Keep in mind of that number. C equals 4. So x squared plus 4. Oh, it's a positive 4. Wait a second. I apologize. The equation is just b over 2 squared, not negative b. See, I got those confused. So keep in mind the positive 2. We're going to see that again. Plus 4 equals, this is 5 plus 4. So 5 plus 4 is 9. All right, so let's do this. X squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 9. So let's get it solved. What I have to do is factor the left side. Now the factor to the left side is always look like this. X plus whatever this number was over here. And since that number over there was positive 2, we could set it up to make it equal positive 2. So this is x plus 2 squared equals 9. If you don't believe me, just do what multiplies with 4 and adds with 4. Happens to also be 9. So x plus 2 squared equals 9. We're going to square root this whole thing and square root that. So we have x plus 2 equal plus or minus 3. But we're not done yet, so I'm going to rewrite it over here, okay? X plus 2 equals plus or minus 3. Now I'm going to subtract 2 on both sides because I want to get the x by itself finally. So x equals plus or minus 3 minus 2. We're not done here. We need 2 answers. So x equals 3 minus 2 and negative 3 minus 2. Well, 3 minus 2 is 1, and negative 3 minus 2 is negative 5. So it is 1 comma negative 5. Your final answer is x equals 1 and x equals negative 5. And that's how you solve by completing the square. I will do the next one almost as slow, and I'll do the number 6 really quickly. Actually, number 6 I'll show you with the calculator. How about that? So number 5, we have x squared minus 8x equals negative 4. Now what's really good about that is that the x's are already by itself. So I could do the plus c and negative 4 plus c right away. Remember, c equals b over 2 squared. Unlike me who didn't remember, it's b over 2 squared. So c equals negative 8 over 2 squared. C equals negative 4 squared. Remember, it's negative 4. Keep that in mind. So c equals 16. So I'm going to replace these c's with 16s. So x squared minus 8x plus 16 equals negative 4 plus 16. On the left side, I'm going to factor. So things that multiply to 16 that adds to negative 8, that's going to be negative 4 and negative 4. That's not random. That's really going to happen every time. So x minus 4 squared equals negative 4 plus 16 happens to be 12. So now I'm going to square root both sides. X minus 4 equals plus or minus. Like I said, if it's not a clean one, 12 is not a clean one, you leave it square root of 12. Plus 4, x, and I'll write here, x equals plus or minus the square root of 12 plus 4. Now, because I don't know what the square root of 12 is, nor I care what the square root of 12 is, I don't want the decimal answer, you can circle that, you are done. Now, what most people might like to hear is you could do this by calculator. It's a little complicated, so you have to pay attention. But we're going to start off the same as we did before. What we're going to do is plus y equals, and we're going to go second graph. Or I'm sorry, we're just going to click y equals. And I cleared the thing because it was there before. I'm going to type in my equation. 2x, if you don't remember where x is right here. One right and one down from second. So 2x squared plus 10x plus 34. Now, I'm going to do this. You don't have to do this every time you graph, but I'm going to click zoom, and I'm going to click zoom standard. So it's option 6. After I click that, it should graph whatever I have. If I typed it in right, hopefully. Oh yeah, the numbers are really big, I forgot. Oh, I know why this didn't work. I'll show you why. I'm silly. There's a reason this doesn't work. Let's subtract 34 on both sides. Oh, let's divide everything by 2 first. Because there's a 2 in the a, we're going to divide everything by 2. X squared plus 5x plus 17 equals 0. Gotta get my 17 or my x's by itself, so subtract 17 on both sides. So x squared plus 5x equals negative 17. Now what I'm going to do is plus c. So that's going to be 5 over 2 squared. Now 5 over 2, it's the same as 2.5. So I'm going to change that to a decimal. So that's 2.5 to make my life a little easier. Squared. Well, 2.5 squared should be 6.25. So this is x squared plus 5x plus 6.25. And you're like, Mr. Tobel, you wouldn't give us decimals like this. And there's a reason I gave you a decimal like this. Because you're going to have a situation. This is, when you factor this out, is going to be x plus, remember it's this number here every time, so 2.5 squared. And this is going to be negative 17 plus 6.25 equals negative 10.75. Is that on camera? Yeah. So negative 10.75. I'm going to square root both sides. But that's when the alarm bell should be ringing. Uh-oh, I have a negative 10 here. And because I have a negative 10, I can't square root negative 10. No solution. The reason I couldn't show you in the calculator is because there was no solution to this one. So maybe that helps you with the calculator too. Maybe you see that ahead. Oh man, the quadratic formula. So hopefully you guys remember this. Say it with me, okay? Negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Hopefully you remember that. Now let's identify what a, b, and c is. A is 3, b is negative 5, c is negative 2. So let's plug in those numbers. Negative 5, plus or minus the square root. So I'm just replacing all the letters with the appropriate numbers. Negative 5 squared minus 4ac. Oh shoot, I know what a and c is. A is 3 and 2 is, c is negative 2 over 2 times 3. Okay. You could pause the video if you're not catching up. So, negative 5 times negative is going to be a positive 5 plus or minus the square root. Negative 5 squared is 25. Negative 4 times 3 times negative 2 is going to be negative 12 times 2. Negative 2 is going to be plus 24. 2 times 3 is 6. So we have 5 plus or minus the square root of 25 plus 24 is 49 over 6. Now you can use your calculator to check, but I know the square root of 49 is 7. So 5 plus or minus 7 over 6. Set that equal to two separate things. 5 plus 7 over 6 and 5 minus 7 over 6. Let's do this one. 5 plus 7 over 6 is the same thing as 12 over 6, which is 2. So one of your answers is 2. Over here, 5 minus 7 over 6 equals negative 2 over 6, which is negative 1/3. So your answer is x equals 2, comma, negative 1/3. Comma or semicolon, maybe. I don't know what's the right symbol. So just take a second to look at that as I prepare to do it again. All right, next one. Same deal. A equals 1, B equals 6, C equals 9. Negative B plus or minus, everyone with me, square root of B squared minus 4AC over 2A. Now we have to plug in B, A, and C. So that is negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times 9 over 2 times 1. Hope that was on camera. So let's keep going. Negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 6 squared is 36. 9 times 1 times 4, or 4 times 1 times 9, is also 36. Ooh, this is going to make our life a lot easier. It's pretty nice of you on this test, I guess. Negative 6 plus or minus the square of 36 minus 36 is the square root of 0, 2. Now, what's the square root of 0, everyone? Negative 6 plus or minus 0 over 2. So negative 6 plus 0 over 2. Negative 6 minus 0 over 2. Wait a second, plus and minus 0 is the same thing. Negative 6 over 2 equals negative 3. Negative 6 minus 0 is still negative 6 over 2, which is also negative 3. So in a multiple choice question like this, you will see it like this. Your answer would be x equals negative 3. Now, what's really important, because if I remember the last page of the test, it's choose your own. Yeah, choose any method. On your whole final, it will be choosing your own method. And one method I haven't showed you already is the calculator method. So I'm going to show you with particularly this one, because this one's a good example. So, I'm going to plug this equation in just as it is. X squared, I'm not going to explain where x is because I explained it already multiple times. 8x plus 7. Now let's just graph to see if that works. Hey, I see the curve. Now why is that important? So what I'm going to do is click second table. What I'm looking for here is where y equals 0. That's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to go through my table and see if I can find y equals 0. Notice my numbers are getting smaller, smaller, smaller. Wait a second. -7 equals 0. So what I'm going to write is x equals -7. But am I done? I'm going to check and keep going until you see how it's negative numbers? Until they go back up to positive. Wait a second, I might have passed it. Over here, y equals 0 at -1. So your two answers, and maybe that you see that and you're like, Mr. Tobel, why do you betray us? Why didn't you tell us that earlier? I just want you to learn, guys. So that's -7, comma -1. Those are your two answers. On a multiple choice question, that's how it looked like. On your open-ended, that's the answer I would look for. Okay, let me do the rest of this finished test quickly, and then I could do chapter 10. Oh no, I got the system equations. Shoot, I got to do those. Well, let's finish this. 6x squared minus 216. I'm going to do plus 216 on both sides. So that's 6x squared equals 216 divided by 6 divided by 6. X squared equals, let's see, 216 divided by 6. I should know that's 36 already. Square root both sides. X equals plus or minus 6. It could also look like on your multiple choice answers 6 and -6. Those are the same thing, okay? One or the other. Depending if I could find the plus or minus symbol. That's basically why. Now, what's really important to know, guys, is that this kind of set up to be a complete the squares, but I'm not forced to complete the squares. What I'm going to do is subtract 14 on both sides. Make x squared plus 6x minus 14 equals 0. And I'm going to solve by factoring, because I feel like factoring is easier than the other two. Now, the problem with this is I don't think anything that multiplies a negative 14 adds to 6. This is going to be bad. Let's see. There's only -7 and 2, and 2 and -7. And then there's only... Oh, I can't do factoring. What a shame. Oh, so I'm forced to complete the square. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you have a wish and you can't make it happen. So, x squared plus 6x plus c equals 14 plus c. So, we got to do that b over 2 squared, 6 over 2 squared, 3 squared, keep that number in mind, 9. So, x squared plus 6x plus 9 equals 14 plus 9. X squared plus 6x. Oh, I could actually factor this. Things that multiply to 9 that add up to 6, remember, is this. X plus 3 squared. 14 plus 9 is 23. Oh, I remember. I messed this up. I wanted it to be 25, and it would have been a clean number. I remember when I was trying to make this test. Oh well, square root both sides. This question turns out to be easier because of it. Equals plus or minus 23. Oh, the square root of 23, oops. Minus 3, minus 3. Your final answer is x equals plus or minus the square root of 23 minus 3. Whew. And guess what? We didn't even do the hardest problem yet. System of equations. I thought we did system of inequalities. Whatever. System of equations. So this guy's tough. So let's try it out. So there was two methods you could do. One was substitution. So what I have here is x squared minus 5 equals y. I'm going to take this y and swap what's equal it to with this y over here. So what I'm going to get is x squared minus 5 equals 2x squared plus 10x plus 11. I hope you could have followed me on that. I took this x squared minus 5 and changed this y over here on the top into x squared minus 5. So now they're set equal to each other. Now that I have one variable, that makes my life a lot easier. So let's see if I can get it set equal to 0. So I'm going to do plus 5 plus 5. Now, since there's 11 here with no variable, I can combine like terms. So x squared equals 2x squared plus 10x plus 16, and that's okay. Now I'm going to subtract x squared on both sides. Because there's an x squared here, I could combine like terms. So that is going to be 0 equals x squared plus 10. 2 minus 1, remember, it's a 1 invisible, so 2 minus 1 is x squared. 10x plus 16. Oh, I could factor this. Look at this, I could factor this. I could use quadratic equation, I could use complete the square, but hey, things that multiply to 16 that add up to 10. Well, that's 8 and 2. That adds up to 10. So, 0 equals x plus 8 and x plus 2. So this is like a combo of all the skills we did in one test. This is why this question was super hard. X plus 8 equals 0. X equals negative 8. X plus 2 equals 0. X equals negative 2. And wait a minute, hold up. I'm not done. Because I don't just looking for X. I'm also looking for Y. So I'm going to take my negative 8 and negative 2 and plug it into the easier of the two equations. Looking carefully, it looks like the easier of the two equations is the bottom one. So I'm going to take x equals negative 8 and plug it into here. So y equals negative 8 squared minus 5. Y equals 64 minus 5. Y equals 59. So your first answer is negative 8, comma 59. Remember, your x goes first and your y goes second. Now I'm going to also plug in that negative 2 back into here. Okay? So, negative 2 squared minus 5. 4 minus 5, negative 1. So your second answer is negative 2, comma negative 1. So these two are both your answer. Not just one, not just the other. Both of them are your answers. Let's go to the next one. Y equals 6x plus 4. Y equals x squared plus 6x plus 29. I'm going to do the same thing. Take this and plug it in here. 6x plus 4 equals x squared plus 6x plus 29. Let's subtract 4 first. Minus 4 minus 4. 6x equals x squared plus 6x minus 25, or plus 25. Some of you are astute enough to see something's going to happen when I subtract 6x. You might notice, wait, Mr. Tobel, that eliminates completely. And that's okay. Oh, I should have mentioned, because I subtract 6x on the left, there's nothing on the left. And since there is literally nothing left, you put 0. So x squared, 6x minus 6x is 0, so that completely disappears, and it's just equals 25. Oh yeah, I remember this one too. I made a mistake on the test. I didn't want this to be a no solution. But I'm going to subtract 25 on both sides. So negative 25 equals x squared. And if you remember, I changed it on the test day itself to like negative 21, so it makes a positive 25. But if you don't remember, that's okay. So when you square root both sides, you say, wait a minute, hold up, Mr. Tobel, there is no negative square roots, so no solution. So this one was a no solution. Brings back memories doing these old tests. Ooh, how much have we been doing this for? Let's look. What was it, an hour and something? An hour 30? Oh, I'm doing it faster than I thought. They'll be at 2 hours. Okay, let's do some problems. An Italian restaurant is conducting a survey on the customers. They give out a card to fill out after they finish eating, and they can choose to fill out. Which they can choose to fill out. So who am I trying to learn? The best answer here is customers. Okay? Not just people in general, that's not right. The best answer is customers. Actually, the best answer is customers of Italian restaurant, to be fair. That would be the best answer. And what kind of system they're using? Well, when they gave out the card, you could choose yourself to fill it out. So it's like the Starbucks cards, or you ever download an app and they say rate us. You choose to do that. And because of that, that's self-selected. They are choosing to fill it out themselves. Or let's say this. Another way to think of it is the people who you get data on, they chose themselves to give data to. When it's random, you just walk up and randomly ask people. So the people on your list are random people. But the people on the list in this case are going to be people who chose themselves to be on the list. Like they wanted to be, in their opinion, to be known. Okay, this is a classic one. I think this was the same question for both me and Ms. Mosevich. Cafeteria staff at your high school wants to know if your students enjoy a healthy lunch they prepared. 10 students from each grade level. So I'm going to underline that because we're going to use that later. Who bought their lunch are asked, did you think the lunch we worked hard to prepare tastes good? Oh, I changed it. I forgot I changed it. Oh, yeah. Okay, so identify the population. So the population I'm trying to learn is the students in whatever particular school. Okay? That's the best answer. Now, 10 students from each grade. So because you broke it up per grade, that is a stratified random. Because you broke it up to grade and then picked 10 people from each one. And then, is the question potentially biased? So the key word in the question is something that would make you either feel good or bad to answer a certain way. And since they say, oh, we worked hard to prepare this, it kind of gives you an awkward situation to be like, oh, I didn't like it at all, but we worked so hard. That's a cause of bias in that question. And that is biased because of that. So you would explain along the ways that the word hard is what caused it to be biased. Okay? That's what would be the answer to that type of question. So you could say, because they said they worked hard, but the key word I'm looking for is worked hard or hard. The other one, I believe, the last test you had was healthy or something. Oh, good. Mean, median, mode, and range. Mean, median, mode, and range. So, mean, median, mode, and range. Oh, and mean the absolute deviation. I think if you're in period 3, you don't have to worry about this. Oh, no, period 5. Period 5, you didn't do this. But period 3, we'll have to do all these. So, what's good about mean, median, mode, and range is that what we can do is, for mean, is the average. So, you got to do 4. And I'm trying to do it in my calculator on the next to it, plus 9, plus 12, plus 15, plus 19. Oh, I was very nice to put this in order too. Man, I'm very nice to you guys actually. Plus 19 plus 26 plus 32. Oh, let's sum that up. So that is, I accidentally deleted. You hate to see that. I got 104. Hopefully I didn't miss a number. So I'm going to take 104 and divide that by how many numbers I had. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, 8. So 104 divided by 8 equals 13. So the mean is 13. Oh, really? 8, 16, 24. Yeah, 13. Okay. The median, that's the middle number. Now, if these numbers were not in order, you will have to put them in order. So 4 and 32, 9 and 26, 12 and 19. Hey, there's two numbers in the middle, 15 and 19. So to find that median, I'm going to do this. 15 plus 19 divided by 2. 15 plus 19 is, I don't need the calculator for that, 34 divided by 2. And 34 divided by 2 is 17. So 17 is your median. Remember, median means the middle of the numbers. If you want to do it even faster, you just say, what's exactly in between 15 and 19? That happens to be 17. Not happens, it's actually purposely 17. Like it always is going to be the exact middle number. Okay, mode. Mode is most often. So I look at my data. What happens the most often? Hey, 19 happens twice, and everyone happens once. So since 19 happens more than everyone else, I'm going to say the mode is 19. The range. The range is just the biggest number by the smallest number. How wide is your data? 32 minus 4? Well, that's a 28. Okay, super easy. Now, mean absolute deviation, if you're period 3, you can skip a little past it, or you're period 5, you can skip a little past this. Period 3, though, you guys definitely need to know this. There's going to be at least one or two questions. So how do you get the mean absolute deviation? So first you need to find the mean. We already found that already. That was 13. So we saved time. We found the mean. Now what you're going to do is put those absolute value bars and do 4 minus 13 plus 9 minus 13 plus 12 minus 13. I hope you're getting the pattern. Plus 15 minus 13. Mr. Tobel, where are you getting all these numbers from? This is the original list from up here. Plus 19 minus 15. Oh, minus 13. I'm sorry. This number here is the mean, which we did earlier. Plus, let me just check something real quick. One, two, three, four. Oh no! Of course. I made a mistake. I forgot to add 32 to the 140. This is not correct. So the mean is not 13. So if you were looking at the video and you're like, Mr. Tobel, the mean is not 13, the mean is not 13. I'm sorry, I let you down a little bit there. Let me fix that right now. So the mean is not actually 15. The mean is, or 13, it's 136 divided by 8. Still divided by 8 though, that was correct at least. So give me partial credit, please. Divided by 8 should be 17. I did remember the mean and the median being the same number. Oh yeah. Okay, so that's 17. So all these numbers are not going to be 13, it's going to be 17. So let me just rewrite the whole thing so no one gets too confused. More confused than I left them. 17 plus 9 minus 17 plus 12 minus 17 plus 15 minus 17 plus 19 minus 17 plus 19 minus 17 plus We did 19, 19, 26 minus 17 plus 32 minus 17. So we're going to subtract all those and get the absolute value. So 4 minus 17 is going to be 13, so that's a positive 13. Plus 9 minus 17, that's going to be a negative 8, so that's going to be a positive 8. 12 minus 17 is going to be a 5. 15 minus 17, that's going to be a 2. 19 minus 17, that's also 2. 19 minus 17, that's also 2. 26 minus 17, that's a 9? Yeah, 9. Plus 32 minus 17, which is a 15. So I'm going to add all those numbers up and divide it by how many numbers I had, which is 8. So let me type that all in. 13 plus 8 plus 5 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 9 plus 15. That's 56 divided by 8. That should be a decimal, right? Oh, no, I'm dumb. Equals 7. So your mean absolute deviation is 7. Just in case you didn't realize, like, how do you get all these numbers, Ms. Double? 4 minus 17 is negative 13, but these absolute value bars make it positive. So I skipped a step and just made it positive 13. 9 minus 17 is negative 8, but because the absolute value makes it positive, I make it positive. 12 minus 17 is negative 5, but because they're absolute value bars, I made it positive 5. 15 minus 17, that was 2. 19 minus 17, that's already positive 2, so I don't have to worry about that. 19 minus 17 is positive 2. 20, I think it was what? 26 minus 17, that was 9. And 15 minus 17, that was 15. Okay, so your mean absolute deviation is done. Okay. Apologize for that. Let's go to the next one. A survey was asked about people's TV. Make a histogram. Oh, what's a histogram? I remember a student forgot what a histogram is. Hopefully they don't forget it this time. 0 and 1, 2 and 3, 4 to 5, and 6 to 7. So my bottom is the ranges from here. And on the side, I'm going to make tick marks that are going to satisfy all the numbers. So I'm going to do it by 5s. So 5, 10, 15, 20. Okay, so 1 through 0. 0 to 1, that's 17 up. 2 to 3, that's 17 up. 4 to 5 is only 5 up, so we're going to make that a little shorter. And 6 to 7 is only 1 up. And that's your histogram. That was really easy. Just let me explain what happened. 0 to 1 is the 0, 1 category here. So since 0, 1 has 17 hits or 17 frequencies, you go up by 217, which is around here. 2 to 3 also has 17. So 2 to 3, this should be at the same level, 17. Please don't forget what a histogram is. Okay, let's make a stem and leaf plot. So the stem and leaf plot works like this. The left side is the tens place, and the right side is the ones place. So I'm going to fill out the tens place. So the smallest number I see is 6. So it's 0, because imagine it's like 0, 6. And then the biggest number I'm looking at is a 30, 35. So I'm going to go up to 30, which is 3 over here. Do not write 0, 0, 10, 20, 30. It's just 0, 1, 2, 3. You'll get it wrong if you write like 10, 20, 30 here. Now, the ones place. So let's look at the zeros. So that's 6 and 8. So let me put that in order, 6 and 8. Let's see here. From the ones, there's a 12, there's a 17, and a 15. So I'm going to put that in order, 2, 5, 7. Does it matter if it's in order, Mr. Tobel? Yes, it does. Absolutely. It's wrong if it's not. Out of the 20s, I only see 24, so 4 here. Oh, God, if you forgot what it is. 1 and 2, that makes 12, so that's what represents 12. 1 and 5, that makes 15, so that represents 15. Just in case you forgot where these single numbers are coming from. And over here at 31 and 35, so 1, 5. 31 for 3, 1. 35, 3, 5. I'm done with my stem and leaf plot, and it's already in order, so that's really good for us. Okay, this one. Ooh, Box and Whistler plots. Who is a senior citizen who plays chess teams? Okay, whatever. Weird story, but let's take their ages. Let's put it in order. So let me try to put it in order as best as possible. So I'm going to do 65. Another 65 I see. I see a 68. 69. If you yell long and hard enough, maybe I hear you if I make a mistake. 70. 71. 73. 75. 77. Look like 78 and 82. It looks like I did make a mistake, but you never know until you look at it 20 minutes later in the video. Okay, so 65, 65, 68, 69, 70, 71, 73, 75, 77, 78, 82. So with that in mind, what are we going to do? What we're going to do is end this right here by solving this. So let's do this. 65, 65, 68, 69, 70, 71, 73, 75, 77, 88, 78, 82. We're going to take the middle first, or the median, as we call it. So the median, we're going to keep going to the middle, was exactly 71. So 71 is my first number I care about. Now I'm going to take my lower quartile, which is the middle, the bottom middle, 68. Take my upper quartile, which is the topper middle, 77. And my biggest and smallest number, 65 and 82. Those are usually the easiest to find. Now, I'm going to make a number line. Please remember to make a number line. If you don't make a number line, it's going to be partially wrong. I'm going to go from here. Let's see. My smallest number is 60, and my 65, and my biggest number is 82. So let's go 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85. Okay? Maybe I should have started at 65, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is your points have to be aligned to your circle line point. So 65 is right here. 68 is a little bit before 70, so put it there. 71 is a little after 70. 77, oh, I just realized you can't see me point at it. 77 is a little bit past 75, so over here. And 82, which is a little past 80. Now, how the order goes is whisker, box, box. That is the worst box I have ever drawn, by the way. I apologize for that. And whisker. So whisker, box, box, whisker. Hey, I'm done. You could also indicate, if you want to make sure, this is 65, that's 68, that's 71. This is 77, and this is 82. You could do it like that too, if you really care. But before it was good, this is even more good. Oh, so the percentages. The percentages are always like this from left to right. 0%, 25%, 50%, 75%, 100%. What does that mean? About what percentage of data is greater than 45? So 75 means it's bigger than 75%. So what's bigger than 75%? 100%. That's the max. So 100 minus 75, that's going to be 25%. 100 minus 75 leaves you at 25%. Now, if I said greater than 24, it would be 75% because the max is 100 and this is 25. 100 minus 25 would have been 75. What percentage of data is less than 37? Well, 37 is at 50% of data. 50% is less. 50% is more. So 50%. Okay, this one I don't think I gave to my my fifth period, but this is still useful practice, so I will see you watch. This 7 leaf plots represents test grades of the students in Mrs. Ludo's geometry class. Let's see, somebody didn't do so well. Well, we got a couple of A's, so can't hate that. Find the numbers of students who scored in the 80s. So in this 7 leaf plot, the 80s is represented in this column. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 students. 4 students that scored in the 80s. Not a bad number, honestly. It's a big class. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 19 people. That's quite a bit. All right, find the range of the data. Now, if you don't remember what range is, it's the biggest number. Now, the biggest number is 9 and 8, so 98. Minus, what is the smallest number here? The lowest score, 58. 98 minus 58, that is 40. Last one, find the median of the data. So, hey, you know what's good about a seven-leaf plot? It's already in order. So we're going to cut them off in order like this and slowly find the middle. The middle. I don't know why I say it like that. That'll be this one. 7 goes with 3, 6 goes with 5, 6 goes with 9. Looks like this one is, which is 84. So your median is 84. Now, if you're not sure what I did, I just went like this. I'll use both fingers at the same time. And slowly went inside. Just make sure you know that 67, what comes next is 70, not 79. Don't go that way. So it's here, I think. Yeah. 2, 3, and then 84 would be at the same time. Okay. Oh, let's keep going. We're almost done. The cleaning people are trying to get me to leave, so I have to hurry up. All right, this 2 frequency class is 8-year-olds and 9-year-olds. White, yellow, green class. How many 8-year-olds have green belts in the class? So green belts in the class, that's 8-year-old, that's 10. So your answer is 10. Next one. Oh, to fill these out. So this one's pretty fun to fill out. So let's do some easy one. 68 plus 1 is going to be the total, which is 69. I also get the total here. This one is 1 plus 47 plus 75. 1 plus 47 plus 75, that is going to be 48. And 48 plus 75 is 123. 123. Let's see. Okay, nothing we could add together, but we could start subtracting. So if this I know is 106, and this I know is 75, I could do 106 minus 75. 106 minus 75, I'm going to write that here. It's going to give me 31, okay? Now here, this is not as clear sometimes. If this is 31, this is 109, this is 68. This space right here is this plus this plus this. So what I have to do in this spot is 109 minus 31 minus 68. The reason I have to do both is because all 3 add up to 109. So I have to subtract both numbers from it. If you don't do that, you're going to get weird numbers and it won't work. Hey, 10 plus 47, that's easy, 57. To check your work, what I would do is add this total and add this total to see if it's the same number. Now I should get 122. No, I'm sorry, 222. What the? 232. Yeah, there we go. I'm trying to do this math too fast in my head. I feel like I'm giving up, but I can't. So let me just type in a calculator so I don't make a big mistake like last time. I can't even type in the calculator correctly. Yeah, 232. So your answer here is 232. Okay. Chapter 11, we're almost done. So if you're period 3, you might have not seen this test, but we have learned this in material, most of this material, so you better know how to do it. Show a sample space for rolling a die and flipping a coin. So when you roll a die, that's a dice. So that's 6 options. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then when you flip a coin, that's heads and tails. So you get 1 with a heads or tails. 2s with a heads and a tails. 3 with a heads and a tails. 4 with a heads and a tails. Now, a lot of you guys don't like it when you see it like this for whatever reason. So I'm going to rechange it to do it like this. Heads 1, heads 2, heads 3, heads 4, heads 5, heads 6. Both answers are applicable, by the way. Tails 1, tails 2, tails 3, tails 4, tails 5, tails 6. Okay, what is the total outcomes? So there's 12 of them in total. If you didn't know that from this count or you got it wrong, you could do, there's 6 parts of a die times the 2 options of a coin. 6 times 2 equals 12. Okay, what is the probability of getting 4 on the die and heads? So there's only one that's exactly 4 and heads. So that's 1 over, how many in total? We figured out before, 12. Next one, what's the probability of rolling 5 or more on a die? Well, 5 or more. So this has 5 or more, that's 1. That has 5 or more, that's 2. This has 5 or more, that's 3. This has 5 or more, that's 4. So that's 4 over 12, which reduces to 1 over 3. Also, you could think of it like this. Because we only care about a die, you could think of this. And a dice, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's only 2 that's bigger than 6, or 5 or more. So that's 2 over 6, which also reduces to 1 over 3. So there's multiple ways to get that answer. I didn't show on the camera, but let's keep going. What's the probability of getting less than 3 and flipping heads? So less than 3. So less than 3 does not include 3. So, and flipping heads. So I need both. So the only one that's less than 3 and flipping heads is heads 2 and heads 1. So that's going to be 2 over 12, which equals 1 over 6. Oh, this is interesting. It says odds. Do not forget that. I'll try to bold it if I remember on the test, but don't trust it if I bold it. Get 3 or more or flipping tails. 3 or more and flipping tails. So let's see what is flipping tails and 3 and more. So 3, I said or more. So 3 included, 4, 5, 6. So that's 4 of the ones I want. Now when I say odds, it's what winning over losing is. So it's 4 over how many of them are losers or the ones that you don't want? Well, tails 2, tails 1, that's 2 of them. And all the heads, so that's 6. So it's 6 plus 2, that's 8. So it's 4 over 8, which is 1 over 2. That is your odds. So when you say the odds are 1 to 2. What are the odds of getting 3 on a die and flipping heads? 3 on the die? Well, let's see. It seems like I said 3 exactly. So 3 on the die and getting heads. Now I'm looking for odds though. So 3 on a die and getting heads, that's only one combo here, which is 3. Which is 1 of them. Over how many of them are losers? So if there's 12 in total, only one's a winner. I could do 12 minus 1, 11 losers. So 1 over 11. We're at the home stretch. Okay, must show work. 4 exclamation point. On your actual test, you need to show work. You don't need to. So if you want to do this in the calculator, I'll show you a trick. You click the math button. That's right underneath alpha. And then you're going to go right to probability. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 on this calculator. And look at option 4. Look at that guy. That looks like a dang exclamation point. So I can quit. So I'm going to put 4 math exclamation point. Hey, 24. Let's check if that works. Well, 4 exclamation points, 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 4 equals 24. Hey, look at that. That works. So if you want to see it again, you click math. Then you go right to PROB. You got to click the right day pad to PROB. What do you think that stands for? You're right, probability. Then you got to go down to 4. Well, trust me, that's not the only thing we could do with that. So that's 720. And if you didn't know, that's 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Now, let's do 11p. So 11p3 is 11 times 10 times 9. You go 3 down, so 1, 2, 3. So 11 times 10 times 9. Oh, shoot. Let me do it the long way first, and then I'll show you the quick way. So 11 exclamation point over 11 minus 3 exclamation point. So 11 exclamation point over 8 exclamation point. 11 times 10 times 9 times 8 exclamation point over 8 exclamation point. I could cross those 8 exclamation points out. So I'm left with 11 times 10 times 9, which equals 990. Now, you know what's really nice? A calculator is really nice. So what I could do is click Math. Go to the right to PROB. I'm sorry I didn't show that, so let me just start again. So I'm going to click Math. That's underneath Alpha. Go all the way right to PROB. Hey, NPR. That should look familiar. NPR. I'm going to plug in the first number, which is 11. I'm going to plug in the second number, which is 3. Let's see if that works. Huh. It's the same answer. Isn't that amazing? Also, a quicker way to do it is, you see how it's always 3 down? So 11, 10, 9, it went 3 down and then it stopped. Since that 3 is there, you know you go 3 down. If you see a 4 here, I could do 12 times 11 times 10 times 9. And I know that's going to be one of my answers, which is going to be 11880. And I'm going to plug it into the calculator here to see if that's true. So that's 12, and that's, what is it, 4? Yeah. So I just want to show that they're the same thing. 12 times 11 times 10 times 9 is 1180. 12p4 is 1180. If you just skipped ahead and got to here, go back in the video and I can show you where you get the p. So you could do the p in the calculator. But you know what's better than doing p in the calculator? C in the calculator. So what I'm going to do C in the calculator. First, let me do it by hand for anybody like me who likes to do it the long way. 10 exclamation point is 10 minus 2 exclamation point, 2 exclamation point. 10 exclamation point over 8 exclamation point, 2 exclamation point. Remember, you can't multiply these. So 10, 9, 8. I'm going to stop at 8 because 8 is the biggest one on the bottom. 8 exclamation point times 2 times 1. I could cross out those 8s. 10 times 9 over 2 times 1. 90 over 2, which is 45. Hey, that's a lot of work. But I did it right. Let's check, though, with the calculator. Click Math. You're going right again to PROB, probability. Makes sense because this is the probability section. Hey, NCR, that should look familiar. Now you got to plug in 10. And I think the other one's 2. Hey, 45. Look at that, 45. Now I'm going to do most of these in calculator because it's just repeating the same thing. So I'm going to shoot 12 C5. So that's going to be 792. And just to express it, maybe I'll show it by hand. You're going to simplify to this point. 12 times 11 times 10 times 9 times 8 over 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. If you don't know how to set it up, look at the last one and try to set it up. Try to get to this by yourself, okay? Now that's 792. Okay, word problems. Remember, particular positions are permutations. Think of all the P's you're saying. So if I'm talking about gold, silver, bronze, gold and silver and bronze are different places. And that's 8 people in total. So that's 8. I only have 3 positions. Positions are particular. So 8p3. 8p3 is the same as 8 times 7 times 6. 8 times 7 times 6 is the same as 336. Let's do the next one. I draw numbers 1 through 10. How many ways I could have 4 cards in my hand? So 4 cards like in your hand, like in the goldfish basically. Like how many, you have 4 different cards. Now, it doesn't matter if I draw card A first or card B first or King of Hearts first or the Queen of Diamonds. I'll still have it in my hand. So it doesn't matter if the card is first or last. So that makes it a combination. I don't care. Combination, don't care about the order. Since I have 10 cards, it's 10 cards. And I need 4 of them. So 10, choose 4. That is going to be, if I expressed it, 10 times 9 times 8 times 7. Remember, I'm going to do 10 minus 6, which is 6, which I'm going to do, let me stop there. 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. That will be the simplified version. That is going to be, and I'm going to cheat and use the, well, not cheat. I'm going to use what is available for me, which is the calculator. So that's 10, choose 4. That ends up being 210. I should have saw that in my head. I could have done that by hand. All right, next one. Bob needs to pick 3 out of his 15 students. What a generic name Bob is. 15 students and go into the market. Markers? Get markers from the front office. How many ways can you choose? Now, it doesn't matter if I choose you first or choose you last. You're all going to get markers. I don't know why this is a three-man job. Bob is just letting his students leave as willy-nilly. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't. I don't care who goes first or last. So it's choose. So 15, choose 3. Doing it by hand, you get simplified to this. 15 times 14 times 13 over 3 times 2 times 1. So let's just do the same thing. We're going to change the numbers a little bit. 15 and 3. That should be 455. Okay. Next one. Out of 30 students in the council, they need a president, vice president, and secretary. Because these are different jobs, that's going to be particular. I have 3 here because I have 3 different jobs, and I have 30 students, so it's 30 here. So if you simplify it, you're going to get 30 times 29 times 28. So funny enough, in the perpendicular ones, or the perpendiculars, the permutation ones, they're easier to do it like that. So 30 times 29 times 28 equals 24,360. Big numbers right there. With that in mind, I just want to check if the link is working. Is the video still up? Yep. Okay. So let's keep going. How many ways could you order the word copier? Some people forgot this. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 letters. So that's 6 exclamation point. Because there's 6 and I'm using all 6, so 6 exclamation point. That ends up being 720. I just remember that value, but it's a 6 times 5 times 4. If you want to write them all out, all 720, you will run out of time in the test. So I would suggest not doing that. Okay? Don't write them out. Especially since I don't ask it. All right, here we go. Next page. Flip over your page. What do we got? Pancakes. I picked the most random thing. I think pancakes. I put pets. I put hot dogs. I don't know. I guess I'm simple. All right. Picking a person at random. What's the probability you want only syrup? So only syrup. So only people who have syrup. There's 15 people who want syrup out of the 40 people that interviewed. So 15 only syrup out of 40. And remember, I forgot to put the word here, but the middle is both of them. So they put both syrup and butter on it. So 15 over 40, that's 3 over 8. So if you saw the answer as a multiple choice, it would be 3 over 8. Picking a person at random, what's the probability they put either syrup or butter on their pancakes? So either syrup or butter. So when I say either syrup or butter, it could be both also, because it has syrup and butter. So that's 15 plus 8 plus 7. 15 plus 8 plus 7 is going to be 30. So 30 over 40 is 3/4. Okay. Next one. Picking a person at random. What's the probability you put not butter? So not butter at all. So no butter, butterless. Well, 7 has butter, but also this guy has butter on it. So you got to include just the syrups. But not only just the syrups, but the neithers either, or the plain pancakes. So 15 and 10, that is 25 out of 40. Oh, I'm not in the camera. 25 out of 40. That is going to be 5 out of 8. Okay, last one for this one. Picking a person at random, what's the probability both put syrup and butter on their pancakes? So I'll be more particular, but on the same time. So that's only 8 people who put the syrup and pancakes. That's got to be unhealthy, honestly. So that's going to be 1 over 5 after you simplify. So it's 8 because there's only 8 people who do both, and 40 because there's 40 people in total. 8 out of 40 people live an unhealthy life. Okay, this one. So there's red cards number 1 to 10, and 10 blue cards number 1 to 10 in the deck. Now, some people liked putting the sample size, so they put like red 1, red 2, red 3. I saw that on the test. You could do that right now. I'll give you a second. Pause the video. And if you finished, pause your video, or you didn't even care, I don't blame you. Let's do this. What's the probability of drawing a red card or a card with number 6? So, how many red cards are there? There's 10 red cards, so I do 10 over 20 cards in total. Plus, how many cards with 6 are there? Well, there's red 6 plus blue 6, so that's 2 out of 20. Plus, or minus, how many of them are red and 6? That's 1 out of 20. So that's 11 out of 20. Now, here's the important thing. If you drew out the sample size and you just counted how many ones are red or 6, you still get the credit. So if it's 11 out of 20, it's still 11 out of 20. 11 of them should be. Okay, how many blue cards and a card with number 3 on it? So there's only one blue card that has 3 on it, so that's 1 out of 20. So 1 out of 20? Oh, that's it, actually. I can't do anything else. It's just 1 out of 20. So here's the trick question I forgot to remove. What is a green card and the card with number 7? Now, there ain't no green cards. So there's 0 green cards out of 20. So there's 0% chance you could get a green card. 0%. Okay, next one. PA and PB, and PA and B is 0.17. What is PA or B? Oh, that's really interesting. The equation, if you don't remember, is PA plus PB minus PA and B equals PA or B. All that means is that PA, which is 0.55, plus PB, which is 0.42, minus PAB, which is 0.17, equals whatever I want here, which I'll call X. 0.55, and I'll pull out my calculator for this. 0.55 plus 0.42 minus 0.17, I believe was 80. Yep. I should say P, A, and B, or X you could call it, equals 0.8. Is that on camera? Okay, good. Oh, is this the last one? Oh, this is the last one, guys. I'm super happy. I've been here for more than 2 hours. If you watch this whole stream, I'm very proud of you. I hope this helps. Like and subscribe and all that. Don't forget to leave a comment and ring the bell and yada yada. Okay, we're almost done. If PA is 0.19 and PB is 0.21 and they're disjointed. So what that means is disjointed is that P, A, and B just equals 0. So they can never happen at the same time. What is P, A, or B? So that's 0.19 plus 0.21. Hey, that's really easy, 0.40. Your answer is 0.40. All right, that's the YouTube live stream. I hope you guys appreciate that. Don't get used to it because no other teacher is crazy enough to do this especially for math. Otherwise, use this to your advantage. I hope this helps. I hope you feel a little better with this. I hope this answers a bunch of questions. Again, we'll start reviewing 3 days before the finals, like the 3 full school days we have before final, which I believe from both period 3 and period 5, that'll be starting Wednesday next week, okay? Make sure you get that final homework done so I can give you some credit too. Thank you and have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful time, guys. I hope this helped.